Okay, we're in section 40 now, and it's again getting back to the related Sage code. If you got this far in the course, certainly I hope you know about how to get Sage running. Now, whether you use the interactive co-calc worksheet or you're installed on your computer, it's really the same set of code. All right. Basically reset, setting X as a variable, and then integrating this thing over here from 1 to 3. Okay. So what I want to do is just go through this, optional material over here. And someone says, why do you give me so much optional stuff? I'm only interested in the minimum. And the problem with just doing the minimum, it may not pay off, right? You need to start to develop, skills outside the minimal skills, getting through the course. And that's really a minimal skill, by the way, to get through the course. And some people are satisfied with the minimum, but you start to realize to be competitive, you have to do a little bit more than the minimum to be competitive. All right. And I'm going to say this over here. If you kind of read through this over here, this optional material is about using a software called LaTeX. All right. Now, LaTeX integrates nicely with Sage. All right. And if you went back over my Sage tutorial, that book was created with LaTeX and Sage. Both products were used to create that book. All right. It's called Sage Tech. All right. But anyway, here we go. Optional material. Now, what I'm going to claim over here is what happens a lot of times is people present information, professionally. If you do present information professionally, you want someone else to be able to read it and understand what they've read. And this is an example of a student that presented material to me that was, for me, very difficult to read. For example, reading over here, looking at it, just following it is quite difficult. I mean, I wonder what this one means. And you have to really think about what that means. And it means that I guess the guy's taken a derivative. But, again, I'm looking at it and really to read through this stuff, very, very difficult. All right, very difficult, right? Including things like, he writes over here, what does he mean by this over here? Does he mean, cosine of x plus y divided by 1 and then subtract cosine x plus y? Well, if that's, or does he mean cosine of x plus y divided by the quantity? Who knows what he means? It takes time and effort. You got to start to realize a lot of people are not going to take the time and effort to sift through things that are poorly typeset. All right. So I'm going to say at a minimum, you should learn either have really great penmanship, and people will look at really nice penmanship and say, wow, it looks really nice. But for the most part, professional work is not submitted as really nice penmanship. It's submitted in a typeset form. All right. So I would say, one or two things at this point, either, learn to use Microsoft Word. And when I say learn to use it, this guy created this with Microsoft Word, but it's not really proficiently used. All right. Now, typically the people that use Microsoft Word use another product called MathType to do the typesetting. All right. What I want to do is talk about something optional that that I think you should steer towards if you're moving towards, a STEM-related career, like in math or engineering. You probably should start learning how to use LaTeX. All right. And Ms. Grohl said this over is optional stuff. I want to get to this LaTeX business over here. So if you click on this link over here, I've designed a full course on how to use LaTeX. My notes, the ones that you're familiar with, and you've taken me in other courses as well, from Math 100, 119, 120, 121, and 122, I prepare extensive notes for those courses. How do I do that? I use LaTeX, right? And over here, this is a little tiny course designed to get you up to speed using LaTeX. All right. So I'm going to claim over here, you read through that stuff, blah, 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 blah. It has, a lot of information on there. Somebody says, I'm really not interested in reading it. We don't say you have to be interested in reading it. What we're saying is, if you're thinking about moving into a STEM-related career, learning LaTeX is a good idea. One of the problems a lot of students have, I always say is, with go to NJIT, all of a sudden they're faced with using a computer outsource with no experience. Well, if you end up in a graduate level program at a university that's worth its salt, they're going to be expecting you to typeset your work using LaTeX. They're going to expect it. All right. Now you must say, I'll wait till then to learn it. Bad idea, because then all of a sudden you're overwhelmed with other things with another task, and other students are going to have an advantage on you at this case in this stage. They probably know LaTeX by entering these programs. All right. So over here, I point out that I designed a whole tutorial on learning how to use LaTeX. All right. Again, you have to read through the website. But what I do, I publish files. I publish a video over here. You know what I want to do? I want to open this file over here. I want to tell you what it looks like. Let's just click on it. My computer just downloaded it. All right, I'm going to open it up now. I'm going to take a look at it. And I'm seeing it over here. It looks really strange to me. All right, I'm going to copy it. Select all, copy. All right. I'm going to close it out now. I'm done with that file. What does it say? It says typeset and study this lesson here. So typeset and study the code. And then it says reproduce this over here. Well, again, I'm kind of cutting to the chase over here. But what I want to talk about is, going back to my notes again. All right. So let's go back to the notes. I want to go back to the Sage. We've been doing this for some time now. And I'm going to go back there. All right. So I'm going to click on the CoCalc. I'm sorry, the Sage Math. And I'm going to go to CoCalc. All right. Remember, we've been doing this for some time. CoCalc's launching. All right. I'm going to create a new project. I don't know. I'll just random letters there. Okay. Create project. Give it a second to start up. Let's create or upload a file. Okay. Now I'm looking at this over here, and in the past I kept on Sage worksheet, Sage worksheet, Sage worksheet, all over and over again. But what I want to do is a LaTeX document. I'll click on it. It's going to open up. And they give me a sample over here. If you notice this over here, right? And they got the typeset output over here. But what I want to do is I want to select over this. I want to delete it. And I want to paste in that file I just downloaded. All right. I just pasted in a file, the code from a file I just downloaded. All right. So what are we going to do now? Well, I know it's busy. Let me get rid of this free trial thing over here if I can. No, I don't think I can get rid of that. But anyway, let's take a look at see what we can do. I guess maybe this build thing, maybe that will do it for me. Right. If you have some experience with, computer science, building is basically compiling this into some output. And I see the output over here. All right. Now, what do you expect it to do? I would say study the output. Right. You study this output. Given the input, you'll see a relationship between the two. Does that take time and effort? Of course it does. Take it a little bit of time now. You should be in no rush to finish it. But the bottom line is if you go back to that website, let me point out what I mean by that. I'm going to close this out now. The M11 website, that's m11.mathography.org. You could read through this if you like. We recommend you do read through it. There's plenty of resources on the website. What I mean by that, a lot of resources, including free books, free tutorials, videos, links to other websites that allow you to do web-based LaTeX processing. A lot of stuff over there. Again, it's part of a tool set. What tool set are we talking about now? Typesetting. This product here, LaTeX, would allow you to integrate Sage in it as well. And if you go back to my tutorial for Sage, let me do that. Remember, I created a book over here. Let me click on that again for you. And if you look at this document over here, what does it say? Embedding Sage in LaTeX using SageTech. you can actually create living documents. What I mean by that, documents that actually do mathematics automatically using Sage embedded in the LaTeX. All right. Thank you for listening.